Good evening, everyone. I see some friendly faces out there, right? Is that pushing it too far? Maybe familiar faces? Okay, friendly faces. That'll work. Okay. We have some people laughing. They're friendly. So, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a leap of faith and what it was like to do JET. A lot of times that means being open to things, flexible. You don't know where you're going to be placed. You don't know where you're going to live. You don't know who your coworkers will be, and also maybe like your supervisor. It also means taking a leap of faith might be stripping down your birthday suit and jumping into the bathtub with your supervisor immediately upon meeting them. So that could be interesting. But I'm going to step back a little bit. I don't want you to get the wrong impression of me, right? That I would just do something like that. I mean, if you want to spread that around later in Hell's Kitchen tonight, you can do that if you want to. But what I'm going to tell you about is what that experience is like. So take yourself back. It's Tokyo orientation. I think all of us remember that. It's very exciting. The lights, you're in Tokyo for the first time. You go out drinking. You maybe drink a little bit. Okay, I drank a lot. And you're meeting all these new people you're going to be friends with for the next year at least. And maybe I drank a little too much and was hungover the next morning. Maybe I was very hungover. When I arrived at the Ishikawa airport, which is on the west coast of Japan, I was on the peninsula jutting out into the Sea of Japan. I arrive in this little Inaka airport, kind of hungover and tired, jet lagged. We do all the formalities and everything. There's hajimemashite, yoroshiku, everything, But then he's like, I'm going to take you to get something to eat. We're going to do some cultural experiences. I'm out of it. And then part of it was going to the onsen before I hardly even meet him. And so we go to the onsen, and then I had heard about it before, but then we're there, and he's just like, okay, so here it is. Here's your towel and everything, very attentive. And he's like, and now we disrobe. And I'm like, oh, okay. Can we keep our underwear on and stuff? And he's like, no. And I'm like, buck naked? And he's like, yeah. So you get naked, and then, we go in there together, and we're going to have a good time. And so this is a good way to get familiar with your coworkers, maybe just a tip. If anyone wants one, kind of just strip down naked, let it all hang out with your supervisor, maybe your coworkers. And that's one way to really build rapport. And so I'm there and I strip down, and then I'm, kind of a little awkward and trying to wear a towel that you keep in the locker and everything. And so, that was a first meeting with one of my supervisors. And now that I have everyone kind of picturing me naked, which is a fun thing, right? I'll tell you about my other supervisor that I really wanted to tell you about. Enter Hanko Sensei. That's a pseudonym, of course, but similar to her name. And she's a person whose reputation preceded her. Okay, so there was whispering, she's a little bit odd, she's an odd duck, she's peculiar. She wasn't my official supervisor. That was the man that got naked with me earlier. And but she was unofficial and wasn't full-time. People thought she was odd, a little peculiar. And so a lot of people might think these are red flags and everything. I'm like, tell me more. I think this is interesting. And so this is Hanko Sensei, and this begins the time of us hanging out, misadventures of Hanko Sensei and I. And she was assertive. She was very kind of pushy, a little strange. But she introduced me to many interesting things. So one of the first things was a cooking class. And so we were eating once, and one of the things was that instead of just cooking for her, I basically just made instant mashed potatoes and a bag of sauce. And so I did a cooking class, and what it ended up being was me trying to cook at one point, and it was me cooking tacos and forgetting to drain the fat. And so one thing that you may note as well is that these middle-aged Japanese women don't really like greasy tacos and everything. Then she also introduced me to Aikido. And so I went there. We were both so impressive, the strange gaijin and the strange woman around town, that I got to spar with 8 to 12-year-olds. And so I'm doing this sort of thing, learning Aikido. It's kind of like a dance, right? And then I took it seriously, trying to have fun and take it seriously and everything, enough that one of the kids was kind of like, he said to me, ako janai, or baka janai, aho janai. And that basically means, I'm no fool. Mama didn't raise no fool. right? But I was so impressive that I got to spar with either her or the young children. But what this tells you is take a leap of faith, meet people like Hanko Sensei. The human connection is important, even if people might think that they're strange, marginalized, or queer. You might have some of the best experiences of your life.